So you've created an email with new email. How do you actually send it? That's what we're going to look at in this video. Here's the welcome template I created. What I need to do is grab the code because we're going to integrate this into our code environment. So I'll go down to the code tab. I can use either React or HTML. In this case, I'm using Next.js in this example, so let's use React. I'll just go ahead and copy this. Now let's jump into the code, and you'll see here that I'm using the app router example from Resend. That's what we're going to be using to send these emails. I need to do a couple of things. You'll notice I have to copy over this example env file to a .env file. That's because I need to import my API key that I can use to access my Resend account. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll just copy all this and I'll open up my terminal and we'll go ahead and run that command. This should copy that file over. And now I can define the variable right here, Resend API key. Now to get that, I need to jump to my Resend dashboard. Let's go ahead and look at the API keys tab, and I can create a new API key. Now let's give this a name like test. Now you want to keep this private because it gives you access, whoever has it, to anything in your Resend dashboard, but I can go ahead and copy this right here. And let's just go ahead and paste it inside my code. Again, I'm going to delete this right afterwards so that you don't have access to my account. But now that we've got that set up and running, we can actually run the project as needed. Now I've got a README over here, and you'll see that we need to install, which we'll do in a second here, then run, and then just make a post call to this endpoint. So we'll do that kind of one after the other. But first of all, I need to go ahead and get my email template in here. So let's come back over to my route, which is what I'm going to be using to send at API send. And you'll notice that it grabs an email template that comes from components email template. So let's go ahead and open this right over here. And this is what I need to replace with everything I got from new email. All right, so there we go. We pasted all this in here. You'll notice that I've got this React email components. That's because new email is built on top of React email, our open source library for building out emails using React components. I don't have that, however, installed in this particular project. So what we're going to do is come over here, and I'm just going to pnpm, because that's what I happen to be using, and we're going to install React email components. It will also install everything else we need for this project. Okay, so we should be set to go. Now we can actually use this here. You'll notice though that we're calling this welcome email, and you'll see that's what it's called down here as well. So in our API route, let's go ahead and change this out to say welcome email. So I'll grab both of these and just change them out for welcome email. Now, in addition to changing the name, this is no longer a named export. It's just the default export. So I can go ahead and get rid of this right here. And then you'll see I have a first name property, but if I jump back over to my email template, I just have called it name. Let's go ahead and come back over this way. We'll just change this to name, and that way it should work for us as written. Okay, so all we need to do now is to send this by hitting our API endpoint call. If I come over here, you'll remember that this is a curl post right over here to API send. So I should have my API key set up. I've got my email template now from new email, and now I should be able to send this. So let's come over here. Let's first of all get this up and running. So pnpm run dev. That way our actual project is running and we can hit our API endpoint. Then I'll simply split the terminal and I'll make a call to that exact endpoint. So post API send. As soon as I do this, it should hit that API endpoint, grab my key, and then return to me some kind of ID. Now I can actually check that this worked in the Resend dashboard as well. So if I jump over this way, we'll close this down and look at emails. You'll see that now I've sent this using delivered at Resend. And right here, you'll see I've passed in John, so that's the name that's used here, and everything else looks just as expected. So there's other things I can do as well. For instance, you may say, okay, well, I want to set this up using my own domain. So if I go over to domains, you have to add your own domain in Resend. That's as simple as clicking add domain and then adding some DNS records. So I've already done that. You see I've got this at updates.chris/resend.com. So I can use that over in my code as well. So let's come over here to the route. We're just going to change this. We'll say it's from Chris at updates.chris/resend.com. And then let's go ahead and switch this over to, instead of delivered at Resend, I'll send it to myself at chris@resend.com right over here. Okay, so we should be set to go. Let's go ahead and fire this off one more time. So I'll come back over here. I'll re-hit that endpoint, hit send, and now this should actually send it again. You'll see we've got confirmation in the terminal, but if I come over to my emails, I now should have confirmation here as well once I refresh. So if I click inside here, you'll see that it sent it here from Chris at updates.chris/resend.com, and it sent it to myself at chris@resend.com. So let's check out that email now. So right here, you can see that I've actually got it directly in my email inbox, and all this is using new email's code, but using it inside of my actual project. So this is how you get it working inside of a Next.js app. If you have curiosities for how to use this in other tech stacks or how you use it in your own personal environment, let us know down below and we'll try to help out. All right, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Happy sending.